What would be worse? Having to work with Dwight Shrute, or having him think you work somewhere when you don't? That's right, it's time for some more I Don't Work Here Lady. What makes the difference between a nice customer and an entitled one? This person at the shops finds out in the most frustrating way possible. You might be confused for an employee if you're shopping somewhere, but sometimes all it takes is living nearby. This woman gets annoyed when where she lives causes a lady to make a ridiculous request. Disney World, the magical kingdom. Until that entitled kid comes along. How does this mother creatively deal with an annoying entitled family? You'll only find out by watching this episode of VoiceyHere's I Don't Work Here Lady. This story was called Entitled Woman Demands I Fire an Employee and Then Threaten My Job When I Tell Her I Don't Work Here. So, I fired myself. Hey everyone, first time posting here. This story takes place roughly 2 years ago at a local grocery store chain. Let's call it Crowmart. I did work at Crowmart at this time, but at a completely different location. Also, I didn't drive at this time due to medical reasons. As well, in case any content creators stumble upon this, I've already censored it for you all. Well, that's very kind of you. Cast are as follows. Me, 19-year-old shopper blasting MCR on headphones. Mum, my mother, doesn't talk much either. EW, just picture your not so friendly neighborhood Karen. NC is nice customer. E, employee who deserves a raise. M, manager, doesn't talk much. After finishing up with a long tech rehearsal for an upcoming musical I was a part of, my mum picked me up to go straight home. Alas, that is not what happened. Halfway there she tells me we needed to run by Crowmart. Upon arrival I was ready to get out of there, so I suggested we split up to cover more ground. Since I've gone to this location as long as I could remember, I knew exactly where everything was. Which is when NC approached me. Nice customer taps me on the shoulder. I remove headphones. Yes ma'am? Would you mind telling me where the... insert name of item I don't remember here, is located? Sure, it's located on aisle 12. Thank you very much. And proceeds to walk away. I went ahead and started playing my music again, and as I looked around I saw EW talking to E with what seemed to be an angry manner. As soon as I saw her point in my general direction, I looked away and went about my shopping. That's when she struck.
Excuse me, manager, you over there.
I know it's impossible she's talking about me since I'm not a manager. That's when I felt a tug on my shoulder, and as I turned around I saw a very angry EW in my face. I take out my earbuds. Ma'am, please don't touch me.
I do what I want. I'm a flipping paying customer.
I take a step back. Cool. So am I. So if...
No, you're not. You work here. I know it.
Ma'am, I'm trying to tell you he doesn't work here.
Yes, he does. Only reason you're saying otherwise is because he's your manager.
Note, at this time I was a 5'5" teenager wearing a red button-up shirt, black tie, and reddish jeans. Nothing close to Crowmart attire. Again, I don't work here.
Shut up! Just shut up! You work here. I saw you helping out another person. I know you're his manager and I want him fired this instant for not getting my candles. If you don't, I'll have your job.
Knowing this isn't going anywhere, I decided to have some fun. Alright, E, she's caught us. I'm only pretending to not be a manager to upset you. Now what's the problem?
Finally, this idiot keeps telling me that you're out of the candles I like. There's none in the back.
Well, I guess we're out.
No, you're not. I know it.
You're right, we're lying again. E, you're fired. Go get someone higher up than me because I'm fired too. Employee who's been silent up to this catches on and goes to get the manager.
Well, before you're fired, you need to get me that candle.
Find it yourself. You said you'd have my job, and guess what? You've had it. Your boss will be here in a moment, so I suggest you get to work. EW visibly shocked.
Wait, what?
At this time, employee and manager show up. What's going on here? Oh hey boss, here's your new employee. I hired her to take my place since I'm fired now.
No, I don't want...
But of course you do. You said you could do it better. Isn't that right, boss? Manager trying to suppress a grin. Sir, you don't even work here. Oh, I know, but she insists I am.
But you do work here.
No ma'am, he doesn't. Manager looks at me. Sir, you can go now. E filled me in already. Sorry for the holdup. It's alright. It's been fun not working for y'all. I leave manager, employee, and entitled woman to sort things out. A short while later, I was waiting for my mum up front when I look over and see E speaking to NC. NC sees me, waves, and starts walking towards me with E, who had a worried look on his face. Sorry to bother you again. Oh, it's no problem. What can I do for you? Nothing really. I just wanted to tell you how great of an employee E is, and how helpful he was. Ma'am, I appreciate this, but it's alright, don't be embarrassed. I just believe that management deserve to know good workers who help their customers. Ma'am, I'm glad you had a great experience and all, but I don't actually work here. You don't? But you seem to know where everything is, and you were quite helpful. That's because I've gone to this store as long as I can remember. As for helping you, I didn't mind since you asked nicely. Oh well, I'm sorry to bother you. Have a wonderful day. Leaves and goes to find the actual manager. It was an interesting day to say the least. This story almost has like a dramatic dark twist. Just when you think everything's okay, the nice customer comes back. And what's that? Say it's not true. They're not going to be like the entitled woman too, are they? Thankfully not. It was just a little scare there, just to keep us on our toes. Some of these stories make sense when they're wearing clothes similar to the employees, but when they're wearing something completely different, it's like, you've just got no excuse. What's your excuse for thinking they're an employee? Because they helped somebody? Apparently you can only help people if you get paid to do it. This story was called, This Is My Flat, Not a Shop. To quickly make sense of the title, my fiancé and I moved into a flat together. 1-bedroom flat above a shop, which happens to be a tailor shop of some kind. It's a small place, but we turned this place into our perfect home. But that's another story of how we improved our home. Anyway, after a few months we settled in. I was walking home from work. The perks of living very close to work. I work in a petrol station as part of a supermarket, so we have uniforms that clearly state that we work there. Anyway, so the way to our flat, we unlock a big door that gets us into the main sort of building, I'll call it. And this goes for all our neighbors that we have to keep that door locked at all times. Then there's just a few stairs to our flat. Since this huge door we go through first, it happened to be right next to this tailor's shop. Minding my own business as usual, trying to get myself home, ready to chill out, I hear a lady call out to me as I was about to shut the door and lock it. I open the door thinking it's probably one of our neighbors who forgot a key or any neighbor's guests. As soon as I opened the door, a giant quilt was dumped into my arms.
Hello dear, I was wondering if you could patch up this hole in the corner of this for me. And I heard from a friend that you can make blankets out of old clothes like as in memory of people.
I clocked on. The lady thinks I'm the owner of the tailor shop, which is closed. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not the shop owner. The door to that is just right there. I pointed to it and realized it was closed. And it's closed.
But you are the tailor's shop, are you?
I'm not, I'm afraid. I don't own it and I don't work there either. The lady pointing at my flat keys and the door which I just opened, which I can't wait to close.
Then what's this place then? You have to be the tailor's then.
This is the door I go through to enter my flat. You know, where I live. I do in fact live above the tailor shop, but it doesn't mean I own that too.
This is just ridiculous. Stop messing around. When can you sort out this quilt?
Now, in my head, I thought I could easily sew, and if I had a sewing set, I'd have done this for her for just a bit of extra cash, but I didn't. Look, I handed back her quilt. I don't work or own the tailors. I pointed at my uniform and the logo on my jacket. I work over there. Pointed over to the supermarket where I worked a long shift since 6 AM. I even opened my jacket and showed her my name badge and my clocking card to really prove to her that I work somewhere else other than the tailors.
Oh, sorry love, but do you know what time this shop will open?
I don't have the slightest clue, but I can guess maybe tomorrow. I pointed at their telephone number advertised on the shop. If you write down that number, it's best to try and call them to find out. Save you traveling all the way here for possibly nothing. The lady stormed off without a thank you for at least helping her. Well, at least we get a sorry in there. That's pretty rare from some of these people. Aren't these sort of building setups where it's the business on the bottom and the flats at the top usually pretty obvious that it's more than just the shops, that people live there as well? I don't know, maybe this one was a little bit confusing. Even if she did work there and was the tailor, who just dumps a quilt into somebody's arms? Wouldn't you want to sort of explain the situation first? Why you're about to dump a quilt into their arms? You just know that if the hero of our story wasn't in a completely different uniform, with all the other evidence that she worked somewhere else, this story could have gone on a lot longer. This story was called Coffee Shop Karen. This happened about 7 years ago. The cast is me, Karen, manager, and staffer. Until 4 years ago, I lived around the corner from a coffee shop. I'd stop on my way home, daily. Some weekends I'd walk over for a cuppa. They left a broom and dustpan on the patio behind the trash can. On weekends, I went over for a cuppa. If they looked busy, I'd grab the broom and tidy the patio and sidewalk in front of the doors before I went in. I usually got a free day-old offered to me for helping out. After 3 years, all the staff knew me, the manager and the owner as well. So one day, I walk up, look in the windows and grab the broom. Big rush inside. I don't like people normally. I like crowds even less. I take my time sweeping, looking in the windows. Once it empties out, I go in and sit at the counter. Staffer brings me a coffee and we start chatting. After 5 or 10 minutes, Karen comes in. She's right miffed. Kay walks up to me and taps my arm. I look up and say, "Yes?"
We've been waiting for you.
Okay, why?
Well, we need you to sweep the patio where we want to sit.
Oh, yeah, I don't work here, sorry.
Don't lie, we watched you sweeping the patio. Now come out and tidy where we want to sit.
She really doesn't work here. Staffer looks out the windows at the patio. It's clean and tidy out there already.
No, it's not. The table is nasty.
It's a picnic table. Kids ride on it when they sit out there. Kay grabs my shirt and tries to drag me out to clean her table. She's yelling at me that she sees me cleaning the patio every weekend, so I must work here. Look lady, the manager is a friend of mine. Leave me alone or I'll have you banned.
I know the owner and I'll have you fired.
By this point, S has decided to contact the manager. Manager shows up to see the lady grabbing my arm and yelling that she's gonna have me fired for being lazy and rude. I have bruises forming on my arm now. Lady, let this girl go. You better tell me why you are manhandling her before I call the cops.
You best fire this lazy brat. She's refusing to come clean my table.
Yeah, that's because she doesn't work here?
I'm calling the owner. You're all gonna be fired.
Okay, I'm so done with this. You've assaulted me, insulted me, threatened me, all in the presence of a witness. I want your name please, and your phone number.
Who do you think you are? You can't demand those things from me.
I pull out my cell phone and dial. Joe, can you send a uni to the coffee shop please? I'm being threatened by a crazy lady.
That was a fake call. I don't understand why you and everyone here keeps lying about you working here. Just get out there and tidy the table.
Now all of this has gone down over maybe 15 minutes. A cop car pulled up and a cop comes into the shop.
Oh good, I'd like to press charges against this person. She's assaulted me and threatened to hurt me.
Oh, okay, I'll look into that. Cop looks at me. Let me see your arm. I pull up my sleeve and you can clearly see fingers from a grab. Those bruises will be spectacular. Cop asks M to show him the CCTV. They go in the back office. 10 minutes later, cop and manager come out. Cop takes Kay by the arm and says, "You're under arrest for assault, harassment, and uttering threats." It pays to be the daughter of a civilian liaison at the police station. See, most Karens think they can get away with it because they can trample on people who they believe are below them. But every now and then they're gonna mess with somebody who has a connection somewhere that will obviously trump them. And because of their personality type, they're never going to stop. So really, it's only a matter of time before it happens. This story was called Lady Thinks I Work at Disney because I was trading pins with my daughter. So my family is very fortunate to live very close to Disney World. Every year when they have their Florida residents 4-day passes, we go. This year my daughter and I decided to try pin trading. Our first day, we stopped outside of the entrance to Disney to use the bathroom. I waited outside with my 2 daughters, 3 years and 6 months, and decided to practice how to do the pin trading with my 3-year-old while we waited for my husband to come out. Let me also say, I look nothing like how the cast members at Disney looked. I had a Winnie the Pooh tank top on, black shorts, a Disney lanyard with pins, and on my back I had an ITA bag full of pins I didn't plan on trading. I also had 2 strollers in front of me. No one should have mistook me for a cast member. After doing some mock trading with my daughter, a little boy probably around 8 asked to look at my pins. I showed him the ones on my lanyard, since I keep all my pins I want to trade on there. He didn't seem too interested in the pins on my lanyard, but soon noticed my bag.
Can I see those pins?
Sure, but I don't want to trade these. I show him the pins in my bag, and say again how I don't trade those. He soon spots a Nightmare Before Christmas pin that's actually my husband's. My attempt of trading to get him into pin trading too.
I want this one.
I'm sorry, that one isn't mine to trade. You can pick any of these. I motioned to my lanyard, while trying now to keep my 3-year-old from running off into the park. I soon noticed the kid's mum coming towards me. I was a little relieved, hoping she would pull him away from me.
Oh, you're trading? How fun! Mom, I want that one and she won't trade with me. Well, she has to, it's Disney rules.
At this point, my anxiety has taken over. At Disney, the cast members have to trade their pins with anyone who asks to trade. Other guests do not. I sigh, trying to calm myself down. The cast members have to trade, but I do not. He can trade one of the ones on my lanyard, but my bag holds the pins I don't want to trade.
You were just trading with that little girl, so it's obvious you are.
I was just practicing trading with my daughter.
Wait right here. I'm going to get your manager and we'll settle this out.
I didn't say anything, I was so dumbfounded. I'm here struggling with a 3-year-old and a baby, and she thinks I'm working? All I could think is maybe she didn't actually think that. Maybe she was just trying to manipulate me to trade with her son. I don't know. My husband came out of the bathroom before she came back. I wasn't going to sit there waiting for her. Lucky Disney is big enough and I didn't see her the rest of the day. I'm still so confused, but at least it didn't get violent, and I was able to enjoy the rest of the day without anyone else thinking I was working there. For most people, encounters like that are really uncomfortable. In this case, her anxiety got to her, which is pretty understandable. I think for most people that feel pretty anxious in a situation like that. If they're not listening to you, how do you get out of a situation like that? You know, besides speaking calmly and using stock images. I'm glad she didn't see her the rest of the time that they were there, but you could imagine you'd still feel anxious every time you're walking around that you'd hope you're not going to bump into them, because you know the next time it's only going to be even more confrontational. You just have to try and make sure that entitled people don't get in your head, because that's where they can do the most damage, and it's the place where you have the most control and power to not let them affect you. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.